One thing on the Mackey's on and his mic is on. What's up? See ya.
Welcome to Politics and Right. My name is Egberto Willies. We are going to have a great show today. I hope you enjoyed that great music by the one and only KPFT's only Rourke on Wide Open Spaces. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that because nobody plays it like he does. And of course this morning we had You Talk with Steve Hunter. And right on Tuesdays and Thursdays on this same hour we have The Moral High Ground with Dr. Dean Becker. Folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. Please do remember we're in Fund Drive, but you're still getting a show. So, folks, let me tell you something. On my way here, I have to drive several miles to get here to the KPFT studio. And what happened today? Got to the gas station right there on North Park Avenue, and I saw the prices, $3.19 for gas. It was different. It was different than the day before where I saw it for $2 and how much again? $2.80. So I said, okay, I'm going to go out to Costco. Went to Costco. The price was over 30 cents cheaper. So I got the gas at Costco. Today we are going to talk about gasoline. I'd like you to give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit 1 if you want to contribute to the station. We would love to have you contribute in as soon as possible. Press 2 to talk. We're having a little bit of phone trouble, so we're going to get through this. Just call 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Hit 1 to donate. Hit 2 to get online, or rather to get on air. Anyhow, before I get into the gasoline story, I want to talk to you guys. I want to have a conversation with you. You're hearing a whole lot of stuff on TV right now. It's the political season. It's the political comedy season. And in watching this comedy session, there is so much information that's being thrown at you from the left, from the right, from the middle, and everywhere else. But I want to tell you something. Buy none of it. Just remember one thing. There is only one group of folk in America who pays it all. And that is you. The middle class, the poor, the middle class falling into the poor, and everybody else. And the answer to all those questions, the answers to solve those problems, the answers for us to build ourselves back up, is for us to get back into control. And how do we do that? We do that by voting, and it doesn't happen over one election cycle. So if you voted and you thought you voted appropriately in 2018 and you didn't get what you want, and you voted in 2020 and you didn't get what you wanted, and you voted in the midterms, you're about to vote again, and you're saying, well, I did the right thing in 2018, I did the right thing in 2020, and nothing seemed to have changed. Actually, there's a lot that has changed, but it takes time. But if you do a backslide, there's only one thing that continues to happen, and that is you pay, you get hurt. That's what happens. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. And if you so be kind, please also consider supporting the program at kpft.org. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit 1 to donate. Hit 2 to come on air. And, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, and we want you to contribute. But, if you can't, just give us a call. Let's talk about it. Because, like I said, I came here to speak about something completely different. And after going to the pump and realizing comparing what the pump had to say with what the news media had to say and with what I know you're feeling, I said we have to cover this subject today. To hell with what I wanted to talk about. So I want to give you a little story, first of all. 713-526-5738. Inflation, as we're seeing it right now, is one of the biggest forces that are out there. And I want to show you how coercive this entire play has been thus far. If you watch the news, you hear, "Oh my God, it's the supply chain problem. Oh my God, it is the transportation problem. We can't get workers," and all these things they're telling you, right? Now, if you go to our Texas border, the California border, the New Mexico border, the Arizona border, there are a lot of folks coming in from my part of the world, from Honduras, from Panama, from Venezuela, from Brazil, from all these countries. There's a lot of displacement that's going on right now. And they're stuck at the border. And we make it a border joke. We make it a border problem where we get DeSantis coming to Texas and flying people from Texas, land in Florida so he can say, yeah, they were in Florida, and then fly them to Massachusetts, right? Oh, we have an immigration problem, and we have El Señor Abbott, that he's out there sending all these immigrants, sending them all to all these cities that they call these cities that they can keep that want these folks. Forgot what they call those types of cities, right? So he's sending them there, and he's making a point. He wants to show how evil Texans can be. We're just going to dump those human beings elsewhere because they're coming across the border illegally, right? Of course, there's a certain amount of irony in that, but we won't go there today. And so, but at the same time, we have fruit in the ground rotten, right? You go and buy your vegetables at the grocery stores, and they're telling you the reason why you're paying all these high prices is because the price of petroleum is too high, and to move the product from the farms back to the markets takes more money. True. To go ahead and get workers, migrant workers, we don't have enough workers to pick the crop. True. And all of these factors, right? There are solutions, but the solutions are not politically good for a particular side. 713-526-5738. Please give us a call, 713-526-5738. If you want to speak to me on air, if you want to discuss some of what we're talking about, remember this conversation is eventually going to get to gasoline pricing that I had to endure this morning, that I saw and said, you will as well. But I need to give the preamble. 713-526-5738. Give me a call. We can talk about anything, but if you want to talk about this subject, if the gas prices are getting to you, give us a call, 713-526-5738. Also, please do remember that we are just new back on air, and we have a whole lot of costs to recover to make sure that you have your station that gives you more than what you need. In fact, I shouldn't say more than what you need, but gives you all that you need, ensuring that you have an independent voice to give you that information we're all seeking. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. So we are at the migrant workers. So these workers are at the border. And, we like to call them illegal. No human being is illegal, but we like to call them illegal. And we think that that Greg Abbott is of the belief that the more vicious we are with these people, the more inhumane we have with those people, it somehow makes him seem more like a man to the Texas voters. I mean, it's ironic. It's ironic that these are the people who call themselves Christians and evangelicals. Well, surprising, isn't it? But so we have solutions to why the grocery stores, the vegetables are too high. Yes, it costs more money to get it there. You have a shortage of workers. But then also there's a premium that the grocery owners, meaning the corporations that own the grocery stores, there's a premium that they put on that. So the prices, they pay a little bit more, and they put a premium on what they pay a little bit more. And ultimately, there's only one person who pays all the inflation. And let me repeat, there is only one person that pays for all the price increases that you've seen thus far. And that person is whom? You. You know why? Because you are the low person on the totem pole. You know why? Everybody else in that chain has something called pricing power. And the masses, the middle class, the poor, they have none. Okay? So that is a scenario that we're living through with the pricing increases, etc. Now, why did we get all these? They would have you believe that after the pandemic, because of the supply chain, which means we couldn't get products from overseas to America, so there was only a little bit of supply. And therefore, if there's a little bit of supply and a lot of people wanting that little bit of supply, they can charge you more for that supply. It's called supply and demand. That's why these prices, when it involves the supply chain, is a problem. But there are a lot of stuff in the grocery store. There are a lot of stuff on the shelves in Walmart and all these other places where the supply chain had nothing to do with price increases. They increased the price on you because they could. Biden couldn't do anything about that in a free market system as we practice it. No politician could do anything about that. None. Republican or Democrat, none of them could do anything about it until we ever to decide that we are going to have more input in the market. So therefore, we have relegated to the private sector, to the corporations, that they can price things at whatever cost they want. Whatever, and it doesn't matter how it affects you. And let me tell you what that meant. Remember that stimulus check that you got? Remember all those, by the way, folks, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit 2 if you want to get on air. Hit 1 if you want to make a contribution. And you know what? I'd love you to do both, but either one is fine. But we do need you. So going back to the issues here. So they claimed, and when I say they, I'm talking about our current economic structure and those who lead it, what they tell you. Why they tell you they're doing what they're doing. And it also includes, which party is going to solve this problem better? Let's forget about that for now. Let's just understand how things work. Let's just kind of understand how things work. So they go ahead and, they claim that because of the pandemic and the problems we have overseas, it disrupts the supply chain. Let's give the example. If a lot of clothes that were made in China, Xi'an, and all these places, if a lot of those people are sick, well, they can't. They will have a shortage of all these things coming over. But there are a lot of things here that are grown here, whose prices should only have gone up marginally. That is transportation costs because of gasoline. And henceforth, the story. But before the story, one other issue. If we go ahead and talk about the inflated prices that we see right now, remember again that as inflation increases, the profit margins of those who have pricing power, meaning the profit margins of the corporations, owners of corporations, meaning shareholders, and the executive, their profit margin go up because they're giving you less product that they had to buy at an inflated cost. And that inflated cost is greater than the profit margin they had before. So don't let them. Inflation is great for these guys. Inflation is a way to take your money away. When you got your stimulus, the oil companies said something. They said, whoa, Americans have a lot of money in their pockets, which they did. Additionally, they didn't spend a lot of money during the pandemic. You couldn't go here or there. So you had a lot of pent-up money in your pockets, right? That would have been a good thing. Why? Because, I mean, for 40 years, folks, we haven't had the wages in America substantially increased for the middle class and the poor. In over 40 years, it went up orders of magnitude for the wealthy folks. For those in the top 10%, wages they did great. But for most Americans, prices never caught up. So here we had a pandemic, and the government said, okay, we want to have you safe at home, and we don't want the economy to collapse, so we're going to give you a few bucks. Remember, money is not exact, so I mean, that's another story though. But we're going to give you this money. And the oil companies and the corporations say, you know what? Those guys have money in their pockets. If we raise the price of milk, if we raise the price of corn, if we raise the price of all these things, they want the corn, they want the milk, they want the gasoline, and they have money in their pocket. They're going to complain about the high prices, but they can afford it because they have the money in their pockets. And that's what they did. Because we don't have pricing power, the middle class, because we don't have any real pricing power for our critical goods, it means that these guys can do as they please with pricing, and we will pay it because we have to. Your baby needs her milk. You need to drive to the store. You need to do all these things still. So you're going to do it. And they know it. So the price goes up. And now, instead of having a system where we, the people, the government, can come in and say, hey guys, we are going to have to start putting price controls like Nixon did back in the 70s. Nobody remembers that. Nixon back in the 70s had price controls. Everybody forgets that. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Folks forget, Nixon had price controls. It really shocked the market. Immediately, prices stabilized, right? Because it was a choice. It wasn't a necessity. So therefore, since our system knows that they have free power to price at whatever they want to price at, what does it mean? It means then that if you really want to control inflation, and now the government wants to control inflation, right? They want to control inflation, but they have one tool because they choose to have one tool, and that one tool is for the Fed to step in. And when the Fed step in, the Federal Reserve is our independent part of government that controls our money supply. Okay? So they say, okay, we want to drop inflation, but since we don't want to tell the corporatists, since we don't want to tell all those who run our system what to do, we don't tell them what to do. We just screw the middle class and the poor. Let me tell you how. Because a lot of people just think this is a foregone conclusion and it has to work this way. So this is what they say. We are not going to tell the corporations you must stop raising prices. We are going to and by the way, it's not based on supply and demand. It's a lie what's happening right now. The prices are not increasing because of shortages. The prices are increasing because others have pricing power. So what do they say? They say, okay, we are going to start raising interest rates. Voila. Wow. Who does raising interest rates hurt? It hurts you. So the inflation hurts you. The interest rates that we are increasing now hurts you because that variable mortgage that you have, the price of that mortgage is going to go up and there's more money out of your pocket. Not going to buy inflated goods, but going to directly to the bank. The interest rates on your car goes up. And you know what's so interesting about it? If the feds increase their discount rate by 0.75, many times these banks put a little extra piece onto it. They don't, So we are asked to slow down the economy by not buying stuff with the money we have. Thank you so kindly, Laura. Thank you so kindly. who said she wishes we had more stickers to promote the station. We are going to get, it's funny that you say that, Laura. I have a lot of KPFT stickers at home because I went to Pittsburgh at a conference, and I gave out a whole lot of KPFT stickers and have them at home. We have another call in? Let's go. Come on in. Come on in. You're hot. Come on in. Let's see. Laura, come on in. You'll be on in 1 minute, Laura. We're having a little bit of issues here. Okay. All right. Great. So anyway, you can talk whenever you want to, and I will be able to hear you. Come on in, Laura.
Hey, this is Tori. Can you hear me?
Oh, Tori. Come on in, Tori. How you doing, sir?
Good to hear your voice. Couple things about gasoline and maybe one point about political foreign policy on the border. In 1976, I was 16. I had a job for over a year pumping gas at a mobile station.
Mm-hmm.
We used to call it Mob Oil. And so this is about how they price gouge you up and down the supply chain.
Yes.
At the actual station, this little crappy manager that I had, I remember one day he said, the inspectors are coming today. They're going to, make sure all the pumps are straight. And so he went and reset the pumps, and the inspections came, and the inspectors state inspectors came to, weights and measurements, all of that, make sure your gallon is a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as those guys left, he went back and reset the pumps. So this crappy little dude was selling probably 90% of a gallon as a gallon.
Right.
And let me tell you, that happens to this day. I mean, they're still doing that. If you go to a lot of these little independent mom and pop shops, and they're pinching off their gallon. They're stealing, cheating, and so that's at the the way bottom end of the consumer level. On the other side of it, with Costco, I love Costco, and one of the things I like about them is that for every product they have, their price is always set at 12% above cost.
Right.
And that's from gasoline, blue jeans to Apple. And so you can pretty much tell what the wholesale price of gas is to the gas stations by looking at Costco, because it's consistent. When their price goes up or down, it's reflected in the price of apples or blue jeans or gasoline. And plus, so you're getting at Costco, you're getting a gallon when you pay for a gallon.
Right.
That's another good thing about it. Plus, I've had some pretty sensitive cars. Like I had a Saab. It's basically an airplane engine. Got to run premium fuel. And if there's the slightest bit of like water in the fuel,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can tell in my old Saab Swedish car. And, Costco just has the cleanest gas.
Well,
and so, they're straight. So anyway, enough about gas and Costco and the supply chain. What I really wanted to mention is about foreign policy. And this is a political show.
Yes,
so
it is.
Say. But,
and economic.
The other side of that is war. There's, when things get too weird, it's not politics anymore, it's war,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when we're talking about U.S. foreign policy, and especially the policy, in particular to Latin America over the past 150 years, it's not politics, it's war, because it's colonialism and imperialism, which is war. Okay, it's not any kind of straight. It's like, we're enforcing dictatorships all over Latin America. That's the history.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing political about that. That's warfare. That's violence. Okay? And so it's outside of the political arena. And, the Republicans have done it. The Democrats have done it.
Hey, Tori, let me ask you to hold 1 quick second. I want to thank Ana Maria and Gary Harris for your contributions. We could not do this without you. I also want to thank Laura. We could not do this without you. Please, folks, call 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We need your contributions so that we can inform appropriately. I'm coming right back to you, Tori. I want to salute Bridge MCP on the internet, Lee Grant on the internet. Bridge says she's paying $3.90 in New York. Lee Grant, I think Lee Grant is in Texas somewhere. But yeah, anyway, continue, Tori. Thank you so kindly, guys.
Yeah, and this is the best show to contribute to. I got to say, this is it. This is where the dialectic hits the road, man, on KPFT, two-way radio. And so This is the show that gets my donations.
Thank you so kindly, my brother.
Anyway, the Republicans do it, the Democrats do it. It's like Mel Brooks said, everybody does it. You
Right.
know you do it. And so, and then this latest round, all these people coming up from Honduras and El Salvador, mainly Honduras, is goes right back to Obama and Clinton when they took out the Democratic president Zelaya of
Of Honduras, yeah.
and they just kind of like, okay, sure, whatever, and this it let the gangs just run free.
Well,
in Honduras.
Tori, it also has to do with, there was a time in Central America when folks were really trying land reform. And just like also in the past, and people don't like to hear this, but when in Venezuela they were attempting to take away much from the kleptocracy and give it to the people, and it's almost like we don't want to see that because that cancer could spread here. Continue, my friend.
Now, that's about it, man. This is, the chicken's coming home to roost. All these people that are fleeing the gangs and the violence and the structure.
Right.
They're fleeing structural adjustment. This is IMF policy.
Right.
The following. And it's the same thing, rinse and repeat in Haiti and El Salvador and every other country that the U.S. has poisoned the pool.
Absolutely.
And it boils down to racism. It's like after World War II in Germany, after this big horrible war, we supported Germany with the opposite kind of policies. Through the Marshall Plan, we gave them while the U.S. was going through the McCarthy era,
right,
and prosecuting Reds, the U.S. was creating in Germany the modern social democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Creating socialism in Germany that's horizontal and democratic, and it's no problems there. I mean, they did the right thing in Germany. And
that is what is so important for. I don't even want to use the big S word there, because sometimes it closes people's minds from thinking. But if we were simply to say, can America be what they did when they rebuilt Europe? It's amazing, right? If we simply said, could America be what they built when they rebuilt Europe and Japan, all of which have much better social programs with a free enterprise system?
Well, a few great politicians have touched on this, a Marshall Plan for Latin America.
Right.
Like this new guy in Colombia, this new president. I mean, he's, Petro, I think is his name. I mean, he's just, he's somebody to follow.
Mm-hmm.
He was like Chavez at the beginning of the Chavismo,
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sorry, Maduro just, he ruined that.
Maduro, you see, Chavez would have gotten the Bolivariano revolution, in which Brazil, Ecuador, and all of them would have been a part of, to have the common currency, to have all of that so that they could actually develop. And that was the biggest fear that we had up north, that we were getting another power. Think about Brazil getting together with Chile, Argentina, Peru, and these. I mean, it's formidable. We don't want that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the best thing that ever happened to Latin America was the U.S. war in the Middle East, because it took that U.S. boot off the neck.
Right.
All these Latin American countries, and you're starting to see the fruits of that now.
Right.
With Lula and Petro.
Well, Lula da Silva just won the election, but he has to win in the runoff, and my concern is how much crap is going to go on in the 30 days that it takes for that other election. But Lula won by substantial points, 5 points.
Yeah, well, and so we're going to see how that plays out. All right, I've taken up enough of your time.
Well, look,
on to the next. Y'all send in donations.
Thank you, guys. I tell you what, give a plug for donations on the show. I'll give 15-second plug for me.
Well, let's see. I've heard a lot of shows on KPFT, and the other political call-in shows were either, namby-pamby Democrat sycophants, that like the IMF side of the Democratic Party. I'm over on the AOC Bernie side of the Democratic Party. But I've heard, talk shows where if you didn't agree with the desk, the host, he'd scream in the telephone and then screen your calls and never take your call again. This is the best, because you want to talk with people that disagree with you and you're polite with them. And this is the dialectic. I was a teacher. This is where people learn, is through conversation, where we're not yelling at each other and we're not cutting each other off. And, you listen.
Thank you, my
This is
brother.
critical, man.
I
mean,
appreciate
it's just like
you.
people need to feel like they've been heard. It's called active listening is something people should look up and study. You just like listen to everything, say, oh yeah, and then kind of repeat back a few things what they said. Like they feel like they heard you, and then they open up. Their whole soul, their whole psyche opens up, and then they can accept new information.
I really
feel like they've been heard.
I really appreciate you. I'm going to go take another call from Ana Maria. Thank you so kindly for calling in, Tori. You are special. Thank you very much.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Okay, as soon as Marlo, and I want to give some kudos to Marlo, and we're kind of short-handed here, but I want to give kudos for Marlo for doing the telephones for us. That boom that you hear is going to be gone in a little bit. Just let us get things here to handle a little bit better, but it's going to happen. Anyway, folks, let's see. I'm going to anyway. Let's see what we have here. Ana Maria is okay. Bear with me a second. Talk. Great. All right, Ana Maria is going to be on in a minute. Ana Maria, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Adalberto, yes.
Talk to me, Ana Maria. How are you doing today?
I'm good. And the only reason I really called was because I love your show and I love what you say. I'm Cuban and I can relate to a lot of that
Así
stuff.
que eres mi hermana de Cuba. Whoops, are you still there?
Well, they're a little right over there. But
Yeah,
what I
that's
just
true. That's true.
told was absolutely, yeah. But I wanted to make a donation, and I could not remember the name of your show.
Politics
And
done
so-
right.
Right, but who can think of anything like that? Anyway, so I gave $50.
Thank you.
And then I call, no problem. I'm an oldie but goodie. I've been giving money to KPFT for years. But your show is awesome. And I just wanted to confirm that you guys did get my donation because I wanted your show to get it.
Yes, Ana
And the show
Maria,
is cool.
your donation came from Marlo, our wonderful Marlo Blue. You know that woman with the sexy voice that you just spoke to?
Right. Yeah.
She's trying to play like she's blushing, but she knows she has the voice. So,
Yeah, she's got a cool voice.
she has
I
a
like
cool
it.
voice. Absolutely. Anyway, so what would you like to
She said,
talk
"Well, you
about?
want to talk to him?" I said, "No, I don't care. I do want to talk to you, but you're busy."
No.
So-
What do you want to say? This is your program. I will put whatever I have to say on hold. We want to keep folks for the whole hour, and the subject that I'm talking about takes weeks to talk about. That's why we keep our folks
It
in.
takes years.
Absolutely.
What I want to say is, number one, the gasoline is going down.
Mm-hmm.
Now that other crap with the OPEC is happening, but you know what? The core of the problem is not how much. It's not good to pay so much for anything, any of it, but that is not the problem. Democracy is the problem.
Thank
The
you.
fact that these people want to do away with it. I left Cuba when I was 12. I'm an old person now, and I don't want to ever have to go back to people listening into my conversation and then maybe have to go to jail for it. I don't want that. I want to be in democracy, and a lot of people are too stupid to realize that. So
Let me stop here one quick second, Ana Maria, because
Okay.
I don't like to call folks stupid. Let me tell you what I mean. What I mean by that. Okay.
okay, I'm sorry.
No.
You're right. You're
But-
right.
but-
But it's just a
No, let me tell you, because I understand your sentiment, right? I really, really understand your sentiment. But here's where I want to go with this. You know stuff. You know a lot of stuff. And you have your sphere of influence, right? And that
Yes.
sphere of influence that you have, you can actually use it in a positive direction. Because since you know there are a lot of people that will listen to what you have to say when you talk to them one-on-one. So my goal
Yes.
for all the folks that think like you, that sees the big picture, is like, please don't only talk to folks like you and I could have a conversation for 20 hours because we know this stuff.
Exact. I
But
know
we
what you
have
mean. Yeah.
but we have to have that conversation with those that disagree with us so that we can actually get them, first of all, respect them, and then they'll start saying, oh, let me see if I can listen to you. Because here's the funny thing that you just said. Everything that you said is what many on the right are telling Cubanos and others. Hey, those other folks want to turn this place into where you left, which is the opposite.
Right.
Es lo
Yeah.
opuesto. It's the opposite, and
Right.
that is what we have to
Exactly.
get out to people. And
Yes.
having somebody like yourself who knows this stuff, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
You know,
I do. Just sometimes my Cuban temper gets out of control.
Mira, nosotros somos Latino, man. That's how it happens, man.
So that I can't. But I have to say, I have a neighbor across the street
Uh-huh.
who is not what I, not does not have my beliefs. I have my Beto sign and I have my, and no person is immigrant, or that really cool sign. And she still, we talk. We
Yeah.
don't fight. We don't fight. Sometimes I just don't want to bring it up because I get too agitated.
I tell you
But
something
yeah,
to tell her, though,
you're
Ana
right.
Maria. Ana Maria, here's something for her. Because I guarantee you that she doesn't want a man controlling her body or telling, right now, if he can control her conception, etc., what else is he going to control later on? Right? So right
yeah,
now, all he
yeah.
wants is to control her women parts. What happens when he wants to control other things? So here's the thing that I tell a lot of women, especially women who think they don't want to vote in their interest. I tell them, because of peer pressure, I tell them, remember, when you go into that voting booth, that vote is between you, the machine, and your God. You can get out of that
Right.
voting booth and tell folks you voted any way you want to tell them. But you vote your
Right.
interest when you go into that booth. And a lot of folks would
Exactly.
give me the wink, wink. I get that. I get it. I get it.
And whether you are, like she says, well, I'm a Catholic and I really am anti-abortion. I said, okay, that's you.
Right.
But what about the other people that
Right.
may or may not be Catholic that want to have the right?
Exactly.
Just let's let those people choose what they want.
Right.
That's we have our little conversations.
Absolutely.
But
Well,
anyways, I have to get ready to go to work.
well,
so you
thank
take care of
you.
yourself.
Thank you for your contributions, and please
And
encourage.
you do a great
But
job.
please do me a
Uh,
favor. I need another favor.
Yeah.
Please tell other people on your job elsewhere that KPFT is back on air live and introduce them to the program. We're doing Politics Done Right Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and on Tuesday, Thursdays, we'll have the Moral High Grounds with Dr. Dean Becker. And you
I
talk
like
at
him.
8. So we
I
have
like him.
a great morning right up until, with talk shows that's really all encompassing. So please remember to tell your folks about us.
Let me just tell you, I will do that because I've been doing that since, siéntate, 1970.
Mierco, eres jovencita, hombre.
Yeah, jovencita. When I moved to Houston from New York,
Uh-huh.
I because I got married to a Texan,
Mm-hmm.
the KKK blew up a station. I'm like,
Yes.
what is that?
Yes.
What station is so cool that gets blown up by the KKK?
I hear you, Ana Maria.
There you go.
Mira, muchas gracias. Tenga buen día. You have a great day, okay?
Sí, hombre.
All right.
Okay, mi amor, adiós.
Ciao, adios. All right, folks, that was Ana Maria. She gave us a nice contribution. Please, folks, give a call, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit the number 1 to donate. Hit the number 2 if you want to speak on air. Also, please remember you can go to kpft.org, select Politics Done Right, and we have a lot of offers for you. And I haven't done my offer yet, so let me do it. It's already 39, so let me do it. Look, I wrote this book when things were going crazy. It's called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. If you contribute $120 to our station, believe me, you don't have to do $120 all at once. You can do it 1 month at a time. $120, we give you the book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. That book explains the economy and all the things that you heard me talk about, how the system works. That is what we do. But secondly, when you understand this system, you have to find a way to communicate with others, right? You have to communicate with your right-wing brother, your left-wing sister, and all these folks of different ideological beats. Oh, okay. Let's see. Come on in, David. Come on in, David.
Hey, what's up, Egberto? It's good to hear your wonderful voice again.
Well, thank you, my brother. How are you doing today?
Egberto.
Sí, hombre, ¿cómo estás? What's going on, buddy? Talk to me.
I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in there. Hey, I wanted to provide some information. You said something about the Federal Reserve Bank.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the people say that it's a quasi-governmental agency. But I understand that the Fed, and I've heard this on some of the radio shows on KPFT. I've also read this. Fed is a private organization.
Actually, sir, you are absolutely correct. I mean, we don't
Here's
even.
how
You're correct.
Here's how I found out about it.
Yes.
When you remember they used to have the business yellow pages.
Yes.
And in the very front of the business yellow pages, they had the pages for government. There was federal, state, federal, state, county, and city.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through that looking for the Federal Reserve Bank in there. I could find no record information. I found no phone numbers or anything referring to Federal Reserve Bank in there. But I looked in the business section, and there it was in the business section, Federal Reserve Bank.
Right.
So I said, well, that must mean that if it's not in the government pages, that's an interesting thing, that it's in the business page.
Yes,
So,
it is a business. Let me tell you. The Federal Reserve is made up, I don't remember how many districts there are, but it's made up of private banks. Look, there is so much to our country that most Americans don't know and why things occur the way they do. Most people don't need to know that if they are able to buy their bread, butter, cheese, and meat and vegetables, and they can live a good life, right? But the thing about it is, when things go haywire, when these institutions screw up, which they do every generation or so, and in the case of how we've been going right now, more often than that, then we understand the inner workings, the corruption that goes on in the system that actually starts to hit us. So you're absolutely right, and it's something that I probably should mention more often, that the Federal Reserve is really made up of private banks. And I thought back in 2008 during the collapse, I was praying, I was hoping that we would have nationalized the banks, because I don't think one's money supply should be under the control, however regulated, of private bankers. I don't believe that. There are three industries in this country that, in my humble opinion, should be relegated to we the people, and that goes energy, healthcare, and banking. All those belong under the domain of we the people of the United States. It should be part of the
commons.
It should be part of the commons. As an example, I don't have a lot more time to talk about this anymore, but here's a subject that I had at hand today, and it had to do with, I went to get some gasoline today, and when I saw the price increase, yesterday OPEC said that they were going to increase decrease the amount. They're going to create a false scarcity. They're going to take 2 million barrels of oil off the market in order to keep these prices high in a time of supposedly high inflation. And immediately thereafter, you go to the gas station and it's 10 cents that they already added. Right? People with price and power have the power to do that. They have the power to pick your pocket. And yes,
I saw an article in my I got this little on my phone. I got this smart news blog.
Yes, sir.
And Robert Reich had an article in there.
Oh, I love him. Yes.
And he said, what he said about it is this: the reason why prices are so high, all the excuses that we get, the real reason is this: because of Ronald Reagan's magical voodoo economics. He did everything he could to destroy the competition. And what he did was his version of deregulated capitalism. Now, instead of back before Reagan, we had 12 or 13 different airlines.
Right.
Now we got 4.
Right.
Like in Houston, Hobby, Southwest controls Hobby, and United Airlines controls Bush.
Right.
Well, it's the same way with all the. He mentioned that there's four different agricultural companies that control all the food that we eat.
It is. David, it is shameful. Now, David, Sandy wants to say a few words here, so let's go ahead and give Sandy a few words to talk about providing for the station here. But stay hot. Hold on a second. Go ahead, Sandy.
Yeah, we got some people to thank, Egberto. So if you don't mind me
Please,
jumping in here,
please.
maybe we ought to keep our money in our pillows. But Cynthia didn't do that, and she called in right at the noon hour and donated for all programming. Cynthia, thank you for stepping up and supporting KPFT. Laura also donated out of Houston. Thank you, Laura. She's also all programming. And let's see who else. Anna Marie and Gary in Pearland called in. They have no comment for the station, but they did comment with their call and their funds. And I want to say thanks to Jeff in Tomball, who made a really nice gift to KPFT. And right now we're moving along, Egberto, on our $150,000 goal for this drive. We're sitting at $24,226 on our way to $150,000. And we're looking for you to join so many of your friends and neighbors by calling 713-526-5738 and making that pledge that makes a difference, keeping KPFT going strong. 713-526-5738. Push 1 to donate, 2 to talk to Egberto about all those various subjects, and we rock on. Thank you, Egberto.
Hey, thank you very much, Sandy, and thank you for you great donors. David, are you still here with me or not? Yeah, David?
Yeah, I had a few things more I got to say that
Yes.
because I got to go somewhere pretty soon. But anyway, the thing about what you said about the in South America, Brazil, and all these countries, I remember hearing this when Nixon and Kissinger were responsible for overthrowing Salvador Allende.
Salvador Allende, yes.
The monster Pinochet. Kissinger said this, he said it like this: when Salvador Allende was elected, Kissinger said, "We cannot allow this example to stand."
Look, it is people. You see, let me tell you something. Why we need programs like this, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it gives me a chance to segue there. And I know you got to leave, but I want to say this real quickly. Most people love America. I came from Central America. I love America. I love America for what America's tenet represents. It is wonderful, the words. Unfortunately, the words weren't written for all of us, but we made it to make the words. We've been making the words work for all of us. That's the first point. Okay.
There's some people that pay lip service to those words.
Exactly, dear David. So what we do here is try to tell the truth about what some of those who would only pay lip service, what they've done overseas. Most people around the world love us, love the people. But what our corporations do overseas and harm and maim, etc., our economic system by abstraction hurts. But we'll go into that another day. Thank you so kindly for calling.
There's one more thing. Let me say one more thing. When there's a guy named, are you familiar with a fellow named Christopher Hitchens?
Yes, of course, yes.
Well, yeah, Hitchens wrote a book. I think it was called The Crimes of Henry Kissinger. And I remember when John McCain was still alive, he had a celebration fading Henry Kissinger. There were a bunch of protesters outside the building protesting Kissinger, calling him a war criminal, which he is. He is, though, and this is something that Hitchens brought up in his book.
Right.
John McCain called the people out there that were protesting Kissinger, he called them scum.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot that, and again, one of the purposes of this program, my dear friend, is so that it's not to tell folks. This is a program that really loves where we are and really love the freedom of everybody. But right now, what we have, I wrote an article at Medium a couple of last week called "Antiseptic Slavery," and I said it's no longer based on hue. It's no longer based on how we look. It is 80% of us all. Anyway, thank you so kindly for calling, David.
Okay, you have a good one, Egberto.
You too, my friend.
So back on the air again. Way to go, dude.
Thank you. You have a great one, sir.
You too.
All right, folks, we are still on gasolina. Estamos hablando de la gasolina. We're talking about gasoline again. Now, here's the thing. I went through some of the supply chain issues. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We would love to hear from you. Please also, if you don't want to make the call, go to kpft.org and support the program. Hey, I need to do my little pitch real quick here. I'm going to do it in exactly 60 seconds. Hey, as I see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. Get that book, Learn About the Economy, $120 for KPFT. You can do it in increments. Likewise, you can get It's Worth It. After you learn about the economy, you want to be able to talk to your right-wing friends, your left-wing friends, and everybody else. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. That's also a contribution of $120. Third one, after you learn to have a communication path with all your folks on the right, you have to say, this is what we want. This is what we want society to look like. How to Make America Utopia is the third book. Take away the economy from those who rigged it. And when we get to, you can get one of those books, any one of those books at $120 for KPFT, any two of those books for $200 for KPFT, any three of those books for $250 for KPFT. Hey, why don't you get all three of them? Call up Marlo. Marlo is waiting for you to call her and say, I want to give KPFT $250. I am going to do it. You can do it 1 month at a time, monthly. You can do your, divide it up, all that good stuff. It's like buying politics done right. KPFT, a few cups of coffee a month. Think about that. Think about, you can say, Egberto, vamos a dar. We are going to give KPFT a cup of coffee, a couple of cup of coffees a month. Help us out here. We just got into here. We have a big goal to reach in $150,000, and I am so sure that you can see the value in the work that we do here, and you will be interested in helping us out. Tell the truth, so look, on yesterday's program, our internet program, we spoke about how the news allows the right to use that platform to misinform. When they said where the economy does better, there was so much of that misinformation given by reputable media because they were simply being transport for those who lie. That's why there's a KPFT. KPFT is here just for the truth. And we're not always right. I mean, I see we're watching our show right now, Bridge MCP, Lee Grant, each one of these people at one time on our internet show have called in and said, Egberto, I think you probably got that wrong. Which time I said, oops, sorry. And that's the thing about when you have bi-directional communication. We're all finding the truth. We are all telling the truth. We are all telling the real history, not manufactured history. That's why you should call 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Look, you're going to feel, a lot of folks are sitting back right now, and they're scared about the midterms. I'm going to talk about gasoline on Friday, guys. You know what? On Monday, because I can't finish up that subject with the amount of time left. So what I'm going to do is do what I call additional information that will come with the gasoline a bit later. What does KPFT stand for? KPFT is a call letter given by the federal government for each station, just like you have WBAI and all these other stations. It's just a call letters at a state. It has no definition per se. All right, that question came from, I'm hopeful about the midterms. Lee Grant is hopeful that progressives are going to win the midterms. Imagine that. Lee Grant, a person, my brother on the right, he's in the chat, and he's hopeful for the midterms. Okay, I love you for that, brother Lee Grant. Anyhow, 713-526-5738. Again, 713-526-5738. Please go ahead and hit 1 to make a contribution. So please do that now. 713-526-5738. Hit 1, make a contribution. If you have something quick to tell me, hit 2 and you'll go on air. Bridge MCP says, not sure what you mean there, Lee. Anyhow, 713-526-5738. But also remember, even after the show or whenever, hit kpft.org online. Again, that number is, that address is kpft.org, and hit donate. Select Politics Done Right and choose at your choosing. You can choose our books. You can choose our great T-shirts. We have a whole lot of stuff. Teacups, everything at that site. 713-526-5738. Sandy, you want to say a little something, or All right, I was inviting Sandy, but he's in there just talking, so he's not going to come to the microphone right now. I was inviting him to talk, and he's just sitting in that office because he's the manager. He thinks he doesn't have to help out the station. Come on, man, Sandy.
Actually, it was an emergency call from Otis McClay on schedule.
Oh,
We actually have one program that we were given grant money to run, and somehow when we changed the schedule, oops. Coming in here and not having much of a handover meeting, shall we call it?
yes.
Yeah, I was unaware. So every day I find something, you go around the corner and there's no little surprise waiting.
Well, at least you found it.
Yeah, we found it. We handled it. Everything's good. We've been able to get to Kumbaya on most everything so far and keep things moving down the road. But, folks, this is kind of a startup, even though we're 52 and a half years old. And we're all kind of feeling our way through it. We could sure use your support during this October fund drive. Our fiscal year starts October 1st, so it's 2023 and what the accountants tell me. And they have this fund drive every year. Our first fund drive is the biggest fund drive of the year for us traditionally. We're trying to raise $150,000 to keep us powered through the end of the year. And we need your help. If you have never donated to this radio station, but you're listening to Egberto, you're listening to Rourke, you're listening to Tom Hartman that follows Egberto, or you're listening to Susan Darrow,
Steve Hunter.
Steve Hunter in the morning. If you consume this radio station and you have not made a pledge, think about all your friends and neighbors that are giving this to you gratis. They're carrying the load for you. We're not asking for all your gold. Not at all. We're not asking for your whole paycheck like that food store does called Whole Paycheck, Whole Foods. We're asking you to step up and do your part. If that's a $35 pledge, $25 pledge, they all count. And oh, by the way, $25 makes you a voting member. Egberto's on the national board. Egberto does a lot of overtime in addition to what you hear him do here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So, folks, please support this effort that keeps this thing running. It takes a whole lot to get by here, both in terms of money and volunteer hours. And we are blessed with a cadre of volunteers that are now able to kind of open up in the morning, feel their way through the studio, and close up at night.
Don't sell yourself short. This man here is running the station for free. He's fully volunteered.
I'm a volunteer because I believe in the mission of Pacifica, the freedom of voice on the air, the non-commercial aspect alone, what we bring to the table, is worth your attention and worth a few bucks. Can you do $10 a month?
And I need to show you guys this guy.
Caroline package is available. It's a $240 donation, and you get a hemp shopping bag, a T-shirt, which Marlo is wearing. Marlo's screening the calls.
Show the
today.
screen. Show us a T-shirt, Marlo. There you go. Look at her. Yes, sorry about that, Sandy. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's busy on the phone. She's
Yeah.
navigating the phone system. But you get the hemp shopping bag, the T-shirt, and a coffee mug emblazoned with the picture of our new studio home. Kind of looks like the album cover of 461 Ocean Boulevard. Rourke and I were remarking about the similarity of how that outline looks. But anyway, it's a nice little package. It's a $240 donation to community media. 713-526-5738. Push 1 to donate, or 2 to be connected to the studio and talk to Marlo and talk to Egberto. But I urge you, if you're pushing that 2 to connect to the studio, call back and make that donation. Or make the donation and then call in to talk to Egberto. No matter how you slice it, please, please do your part to support what we're doing here. 52 and a half years is no joke, Egberto.
I mean, we've done this a long time, and I mean, it is great, and it's the only station of its kind in Southeast Texas. We cover the entire Houston metropolitan area, all the way to Galveston, all the way north past Conroe. And, with our kpft.org streaming, we go all over the world. We've had people contribute from Great Britain. We've had people contribute from Spain. Folks, we need you, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Let's get this done.
We're parked here in a really diverse city, one of the largest in the United States. There are a lot of people listening right now. And again, for those of you that have not donated before, please do not do that now. Jump on in. Anna Marie and Gary and Laura and Cynthia, they were all, Cynthia and Barry, who made a donation this morning. Thank you, Barry. They were new members. And I think earlier in the morning, Rourke had one too, all the way from Knoxville, Tennessee, Nora.
Yes, he did.
So we've had 3 new members today, but I'd like to see at least 10 new members by the end of this day. And every day, join in. Community media is a great thing. Again, 52 and a half years without a commercial, with local folks coming and going, doing what they do on the air, playing music, doing the call-in show that Egberto is doing, whatever it is. They're bringing their talent, their passion, their material, their views, the ability to bring people together to the air.
Absolutely.
And that is made possible by paying the bills.
713-526-5738. I think my time's almost done, right?
Oh, yes, that you are correct. In fact, I think we are overtime.
We
So
are over time.
let's get out of here. What do you always say?
I'm saying, my name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I get out of here. I am what? Out!